Welcome to another low-intensity DPS build for Guild Wars 2 PvE. This time we're gonna take a look at Untamed. Untamed is supposedly one of the hardest classes to play because it has so many buttons. But to be honest, this low-intensity build should prove you that it's actually quite easy. This build is very fun to play. It reaches over 36k DPS while having very low APM and still having amazing utility in the kit as well. So if you're interested, be sure to watch the whole video to not miss out a thing. And of course, special shoutouts to all my Patreon, Twitch and YouTube supporters that help me keep the lights on. Thanks a lot. And now let's jump right in. So let's start with the gear. So for gear, it's quite straightforward. You want to go with full Berserker gear with Superior Rune of the Scholar. And for weapons, you want to go with Sword, Axe and Mace. All of the weapons again, full Berserker with Superior Sigil of Impact and Force. Just for the most amount of damage, very straightforward. If you can afford infusions, you would go with power infusions, but of course they are not necessary. For trinkets, again, you go full Berserker, and for your relic, you want to go with Relic of the Claw, which gives you a 7% damage buff for 8 seconds when you disable a foe, and you can upkeep this permanently quite easily. If you don't have Soto and you can't use the maces, don't worry about it. The maces are not your main DPS set. You only swap to your maces if you need CC for the most part, so your main DPS set would be Sword X. So if you want to have a different weapon in the offhand, you can go for a longbow. If you need some range, you can go for spear, even if you wanted to. There are a lot of options for the other weapon set. Just the most important one is Sword X. The other weapon set doesn't really matter. So this build is playable with EOD only, so to say. For food and consumables, you want to go with cilantro, lime, sous vide steak for the chance to steal life on critical hit, and power and ferocity. If you can't afford the ascended version, you would go with bowl of sweet and spicy butternut squash soup. You will lose the lifesteal but still get a nice amount of damage. For your utility consumables, you would go with superior sharpening stones or the potent version or anything that gives similar stats. For your pets, you want to go with juvenile tiger, and you can also in the offset you can also go with the juvenile jungle stalker, but typically the tiger is the most important one. By the way, if you want to see more low intensity builds and other Guild Wars 2 content, be sure to subscribe to not miss out on any builds that I post. And all the links to my previous low intensity builds for all the classes are in the description below. Now to the traits. So for the traits, you want to go with marksmanship, skirmishing and tamed. In marksmanship, you just get a lot of damage, vulnerability application, just some passive might, and a lot of damage increase here, 10%, 15%, and 15% more against defiant foes, which is obviously always the case if you fight bosses. Then skirmishing, just some nice swiftness, fury, and more crit chance and more damage increase. Then you have just passively some bleeding. It's not that good on a power build, but there are no better options here. Then you get some nice passive power, and very important here, you get more crit chance from fury, which is obviously really helpful, so you can run Berserker gear too and still fully crit cap. And you get some nice fury access, and fury also gives you 250 ferocity, so this trait is really overloaded. It's really strong. Untamed, again, bread and butter of this build, of course. You get access to your Unleash Pet or Unleash Ranger. And if you unleash your pet, you get access to those 3 skills. So some nice damage, some nice moon removal and damage, and some more damage and a projectile block. So use them off cooldown, of course, because they are instant cast and deal some nice damage. But typically, very important, you should always be in your self-unleashed mode, because then you get access to your Death Strike after you swap to your Unleashed self, which deals some nice damage, is a nice daze, so it blocks the claw proc and also heals you. But we will get to that why in a second, because you get some nice damage increase on your Unleashed Ambush. Then you get some passive vitality, really nice, and some lifesteal. Then you get more outgoing damage, so that's really important, keep that in mind. So you get 25% damage outgoing increase if you are unleashed, so always try to be in that. Only swap for a short second out of it to get your pet skills off and then come back to get access to the Unleashed Ambush. Then you get disabling a foe grants boons. Typically, you should have perma quickness in a squad anyway, or a party, but stability is also quite nice, so you can give yourself stability if you need to. And lastly, you get just 25% damage increase and movement speed increase, which is obviously really strong. So Untamed just gives you a high amount of damage output. When it comes to utility skills, you would go with Healing Spring for some Condi Cleanse and also some nice healing. You can swap that if you know, for example, there will be a one-shot incoming. You can go for Perilous Gift to deny it. You can use your Daze of the Storm Spirit to proc your Claw relic, so always use that when you see it's about to run off, and also does some nice damage. Then you have Frost Trap, does a lot of damage as well. Doesn't proc the Claw Relic, but still really nice amount of damage. And passively you get with Signet of the Wild 180 ferocity, so it's always really strong. If you need more CC for whatever reason, you can swap, for example, the Frost Trap or even the Signet of the Wild, for example, for your Exploding Spores and get more CCs in boon removal. Sometimes a fight requires you to do that, so you're not too selfish. Swap to some CC and drop a little bit of damage. And then lastly, we have Forest of Fortification, which is obviously really nice. Just amazing damage reduction and a lot of boons that you can get. But typically, your most important skills that you would use in your rotation is your Storm Spirit and your Frost Trap. For your weapons, I already told you, the mace is more like for the CC and just some nice stability, Condy Cleanse, and just a little bit of damage and utility. But typically you don't swap to that, you just stay on your Sword X, use your 2 and your 3 skill of cooldown because they do some nice damage. Are also moving you, so keep that in mind. And 4 skill is some nice CC, always use that as well to get your Claw Relic and does some nice damage. Yeah, where though, this is a pull, so sometimes it's important that you don't pull stuff to you, so don't do that then. And then lastly, we have Whirling Defenses, which is also a reflect, so keep that in mind. Sometimes you don't want to reflect, but you can reflect with the skill, it's really strong, and it does some amazing damage. However, it roots you in place, so you can't move while you cast the skill, and please don't do it, because this is the most damaging skill that you have. Use it, and don't interrupt it for the full duration. So keep that in mind. Other than that, of course, your pet skills, especially the F1 and the F2, do some nice damage as well. For the rotation, you want to start with your pet being unleashed, and you use your Enveloping Ace and all your pet skills because they're instant cast, and then you swap to your self being unleashed. With that, you get access to your Death Strike, which is your ambush. You use your ambush, this procs the Claw Relic, and then you use your 2 and 3 skill and your Storm Spirit and your Frost Trap. After that, you use your Path of Scars, so your 4 skill on X, and the X5. With that, you're rooted in place, and after that, so to say, you are getting in the easy, very chill part of the rotation. Just spam your auto attack, and whenever the 2 and 3 skill of your sword come off cooldown, use it. After that, you swap shortly to your Unleash Pet, use your Rending Vines and your Venomous Outburst, swap back to Unleash Ranger, and use your Death Strike, which gives again the Claw Relic proc, and then you use your 2 skill when it comes off cooldown and the 4 skill. And the 3 skill again, use your Storm Spirit when it comes off cooldown, and you repeat that loop. Every 10 seconds or so, you should swap to your Unleash Pet, use your instant cast pet skills, and swap back to your Unleash Ranger to use the Death Strike, and you just follow this rotation. Just try to upkeep the Claw Relic buff, and other than that, always use your weapon skills off cooldown. This build is really fun to play. It's very strong for the amount of effort and APM you have in this build, and I feel like the utility of this kit is also extremely versatile and very flexible, and this build is very burst heavy, so it's very worthwhile to run in a lot of content, especially Fractals. It's really strong, but also in strike missions and raids, and overall I think it's just a very, very good build. So I hope you agree with me. If you do, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks to all my supporters and my channel members. Really appreciate it to help me keep the lights on, and I hope to see you all in the next video.